Hi, we are here today with Miss C, and we're here to hear her story. Thank you so much, Miss C. We're excited to be in your home today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your home and how long you've lived in Houston and your home here, and just a little bit.
Well, originally this house was built by my mother and my stepfather back in 1950. So it's an old homestead. I've been living here really since my mother and them built it, but of course with my job I had to travel a few places. I moved around for a little bit. I didn't live here, but my mother and father, so this is my homestead. The house is like it's a family heirloom, if you want to say that. All my children were really basically raised in this house because no matter where I lived, when I had my children, I always came here after I had them to stay for a couple of days, before I went back home. Even when I was in New Orleans, my grandchildren that were born, we would come back to Houston and they would be here with my mother and me here and here until she passed away. So the house is just part of my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And so did they go to school in the area?
Well, basically, yes, they did. They went to school here, but they also went where I lived because I didn't live there. But there was a Savannah, Georgia K school used to be right down the street. Some of them went to K, Harris Elementary. They went to Harris Elementary. They went to I had 3 that graduated from Milby High School, and I had one that graduated from Willow Ridge High School. I had one that graduated from a high school in California called Wheaton High School, and he didn't graduate from Madison, but he went to Madison. I had one that went to Madison High School. So, and we went to Peterson Elementary, which is not in this area because that's where I lived. Yeah. My mother lived here, and I lived on the other side of town. But so they were between schools because I would bring them out here for them to go to school, and I'd pick them up after school to make sure they weren't doing anything they weren't supposed to be doing as boys, because I have all boys. I have 6 boys.
6 boys.
So
that's a beautiful story.
Yes.
So this community is very important to you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and obviously your home is.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So. Well, let's kind of talk about then what's happened to the home. You said it was built in 1950, and obviously it has experienced a lot of love and a lot of generations and a lot of happiness going on here.
Yeah. But
then we had a few hurricanes and some storms that set back. The first of which I believe you said was Harvey. Then you had some. Can you tell us a little bit about what you experienced during Harvey? And
it kind of wiped everything out. In fact, something hit the roof, and the roof on the back side like caved in. There's a big hole in the roof all the way down through the bedroom. It rained, and it rained all over. And if you walked outside, you could see the roof shifted. You could see where like everything was like pushed forward on the roof, and it was just water was leaking everywhere. It ruined all the furniture and stuff in the house. We had to, of course, we were without electricity for like 7 days, 7 to 10 days. We were without any power. What we did in the neighborhood after it, people who had barbecue pits and stuff, everybody would pool at barbecue pits, and we'd just cook food outside, trying to cook up food because we lost all the food and stuff that was in the freezers and stuff went bad that we couldn't cook up. And for a long while, they told us not to go outside because there was so much water and stuff, and water was sitting outside. And that's what ruined, I think, the house really, because the water stayed on it so long. We noticed that the house started shifting, and I started getting cracks and stuff in the wall because this house had been remodeled like twice. I had this house totally remodeled for my mother. Applied to FEMA to get help because the house my mother couldn't live in. It was a total mess. Took them forever to come out. When they finally did come out, and they had sent someone to walk through and look at it, and the lady came in. It was a lady I never will forget. And I was here, and she walked in, and she walked through the house. She said, "Oh yes," she said, "You definitely need help with the house." And I said, "Okay." About 3 weeks later, we got a letter denying it, saying that we didn't have enough damage for them to help us. they said for us to try for a small business loan or something. I want a small business loan. We couldn't afford a small business loan. So she told me, she said, well, appeal it. The letter said you could appeal it. We appealed like 3 or 4 times, and each time we were denied. But I knew people in the neighborhood who lived even in apartments that FEMA was helping them, giving them help with food and stuff. They wouldn't give us anything at all. So we put it back together as much as we could, you know, getting people to come help do this. And I thought we were doing pretty good. Then along comes another one, Beryl or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Hurricane Beryl.
And it just added damage to what was already unfixed. Finally, one day, I got a check in the mail, $250. So I called and said, what is this for? That was for my damage on my house. I said, all the trouble that I went through and as much as we lost, and you're going to send me $250 to help me.
So what happened after that? You heard about Mosaic in action?
Well, at my
remember?
church, I belong
Okay.
to Asbury United Methodist Church. And the minister there told us about Mosaic in action. And one day Janet called. And she had gotten the name, and so we set up arrangements for someone to come out. And I waited a while, and then Marcus came out and looked at it. He said, oh yeah, we're going to help you. Mosaic came in and they replaced my siding on my house, redid my whole house all the way around, the siding. They painted it. They came in, my living room was falling down because of all the water had damaged so much. So they replaced my ceiling in my living room. I really appreciate Mosaic for what they have done. I mean, I never would have. I was really thinking about walking away from my house, from this house.
The house that had been in your family.
I mean, it was getting so it was unlivable.
Fortunately, during that time, we had AmeriCorps. So you had an AmeriCorps team come out.
Okay.
How was that, having the kids?
Oh, they were joy. You could hear them in here laughing and working, and they even played their music.
Wow.
But they were so mannerable. They really were. They were so helpful. They moved everything. I didn't have to do anything. They did everything.
That's great.
Yes, they did. I had devised a letter. I had sat at the computer, and I sat there, and I was sitting there, and I was crying. I said, well, I'm so thankful I can stay in my house. I said, I've got to do something. I don't have any money or anything. I'm going to sit down and write them a letter. And I wrote a note on my computer thanking everybody at Mosaic and all the workers for all that they did in saving me from leaving my house. And I sent it to you. I really appreciated it. All that you all had done for me.
Well, Miss C, we were so grateful for you letting us come to your home today and hear your beautiful story of this remarkable home that has stood for generations and raised 6 boys and now their children and grandchildren, and how much this community and this home have meant to you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your story with us today.
Thank you for helping me stay here to be able to share, because if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't still be here.